Hey, Bravo Besties, I'm Jenny.
And I'm Kiani.
This is the podcast where we relive Bravo's drama in order, one iconic franchise at a time.
From Housewives to Vanderpump and more, we are breaking down every moment you love.
No bias, no agenda, just the gossip and commentary you came for.
Get comfortable. Your ultimate Bravo rewatch starts now.
Hey, Kiani,
Hey, Jenny.
how are you?
How's it going?
It's going well. It's a Tuesday over here. We're just hanging out, trying to stay cozy. It's not super cold per se, but it's cold enough to wear like it's sweatpants, sweatshirts. We're a little chilly over here.
Yeah, today's a very gloomy, rainy day where I'm at. And if that doesn't say stay inside and watch TV all day, I don't know what does.
I don't either, and I'll take just about any excuse to sit in front of the TV and binge reality TV shows.
Yeah, there are so many out there that I subscribe to. And what have you been watching these days?
So many things, I've got a rotation going. You know that you and I started Love is Blind last week, when we were together. We started Love is Blind, the Denver season. Very good start. I forgot about that because the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives came out this week. And so been binging that. What a great Hulu really got it right. And I don't know that we were just talking about this last week. I don't use Hulu for too many things, but I would pay almost any amount to keep it so I can continue to watch Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
That's a fair statement. I feel like the same with Hulu specifically, but also there are probably a couple other platforms that maybe literally only have like one or two shows that I actually watch on it, but I need to watch those shows, so I will keep paying for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I was also behind on Real Housewives of Orange County, the current season, and the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, the current season. Can't believe those come out at the same time because these two franchises are typically some of my favorite franchises, aside from Atlanta. And these Salt Lake City girls, I do not know how they continue to bring the most incredible housewife seasons every single year. It is honestly impressive. And it doesn't feel fake or forced, but they bring the content every time.
They really do. They're like a gold standard, and it almost makes me sad that we're not gonna be able to talk about it on here for a while, because we have a lot of other seasons to catch up on, but when we get there, and if you haven't seen it, ugh, just gold. Chef's kiss.
And I mean, I don't even think
Yeah.
it's not even coachable. Like it's just the way that these women are and the way they interact is like, I don't know how they brought this perfect group together, but they are just incredible.
They really are. I've always said that for the Salt Lake City cast, especially season 1, they brought the most diverse group of women together, just different backgrounds, different religious affiliations, different lifestyles, and I think that's what makes it so good is that they're all very unique and they stand true in that uniqueness and
They
individuality.
really do. And you're so right. I can't wait till we get to that because I have so many things I want to say right now, but I want to save it for when we get there.
Yes. No, you gotta save it because today we're here to round out our season, the first season of Real Housewives of Orange County. We are on the finale. This went by so quick, but that's because there was only 7 episodes in this regularly scheduled season.
Yeah, it's been kind of interesting to have this few episodes, but I do think just knowing a little bit, doing my research ahead of our season and looking at some of the, just the background information, like it makes sense why there weren't that many, but it is odd compared to our seasons that we have today, only having 7 episodes.
Definitely odd, but kind of refreshing that we can kind of get through it a little bit quicker. Not that this season was bad overall, but I think they were working out the kinks, like you said, kind of. And I really did learn a lot as far as how this show came to be and all of your extensive background research. But just thinking back to that type of information and what we're seeing at the finale from episode 1 to now, the show has actually changed a lot, I think, as far as how they are filming things, how they're bringing the wives together a lot more than they did in the beginning. And it's really exciting to see.
Yeah, I love that it's just they're learning so quickly, like, as they go along, and I love that because we talked about the first 2 episodes, man, they were so choppy, going from one wife to the next wife, and you were kinda like, "Well," I mean, it's so weird, they're so disjoint, and then once they finally brought people together, it made so much more sense, and I think especially in this episode 7, they are really leaning into like, "Well, the gold is when we bring the ladies together."
Yes, they definitely found that. And this episode, we really get to see kind of like a check in with where the wives are at today. And they do reflect back a little bit of where they started and where they're at now. And a few of them are going through really similar transitions. Specifically, Vicky and Gina share a lot of similarities because they have kids going off to college. And so they're kind of getting a little bit of an emptier nest, so to speak. But let's start with Vicky, our main gal, my fave, the crazy, crazy lady. So she is talking a lot this episode about her 2 kids because Michael does end up redeeming himself and gets himself back into school. So he is packing up to go back to Colorado to attend school. And it wouldn't be Vicky if she wasn't micromanaging even down to the last item that he's packing in his suitcase.
It really wouldn't, and asking him, "When is your mattress gonna arrive?" Like, all these questions, he's like, "Mom, with the logistics, like, I've got it." He's a simple boy. He really
Yeah.
just needs a couple duffel bags, and he's really good to go.
Yeah, he is. He also doesn't really want her help, it very much seems like. And he's not the only one because his sister Brianna is going through something similar. She is going to college for the first time now, and she's going to be going off to nursing school. But I believe her nursing school isn't too far away, but she will not be living at home while she's attending. And Vicky is just unwell overall with the thought of Brianna leaving and not being able to have her in the house. I think she's showing pretty clearly if she does have a favorite child, who it probably is, based on how she's handling Brianna leaving versus Michael.
Yes, absolutely. And this is the one also where they're doing their walking. Am I remembering that correctly? That,
Mhm.
like, Vicky and Brianna are walking? Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's very clear that Vicky is less concerned for Brianna, you can say. She's not worried about Brianna flunking out or doing anything crazy, but she is worried about Brianna not wanting to spend time with her while she's away.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I could see that. I think it's kind of the hand that you dealt yourself in terms of she's been like smothering Brianna a little bit, showing up on her dates with her boyfriend and just being all up in her business overall. And now she's like, wait, what do you mean you don't want to hang out with me?
Loved Brianna, like, imitating her mom of like, "Have lunch with me." Just being worried that Vicky's gonna show up and, interrupt her day, and I can totally see Vicky doing that, and I'm
Yeah,
yeah.
I would not put that past her whatsoever.
No, definitely not, and especially knowing that Brianna is really I think they were saying in that walk that it was about 45 minutes away, is that right? Her school, so there's no way Vicky's
Yeah,
not just dropping in.
no, definitely no way. She's gonna be there every weekend, if not sometimes during the week, I'm sure too.
And we don't know did we learn what Colby is doing after high school?
They don't mention it, no. Yeah, they don't really talk about it other than they do intend on staying together while they're in college.
Yeah, I'm just curious, like, if I were Brianna and I was now closer to my boyfriend or had more freedom, like, I would not be coming home.
No, definitely not. She's gonna get her first taste of, like, true freedom, and I think she's gonna like it if I can have a little bit of an inkling there. As we mentioned, there are very similar parallels between Vicky and Gina because we find out this episode that Shane has selected his junior college that he will be attending, and he opted to move to Arizona, so about 6 hours away from home. Quite a bit of a difference compared to Brianna, but he is packing up and preparing to take off, which is really exciting for him.
Yes, very excited for Shane. Glad he is, I think, getting some distance from Gina. I think Gina admits in the last episode, right, that she kind of had a heavy hand with Shane as far as like guiding him a little bit more closely than maybe she has with Colton. And she wishes she didn't do that a little bit. So I think Shane going away, getting some space is going to be really good for not only him, but for Gina. And I loved that. I think it was Gina said that Shane is high maintenance and the family is excited for him to leave and have some quiet.
After the last episode of them just focusing in on Shane and Kara, just being in this constant state of like beefing, but also loving each other, I'm sure Kara is probably the most excited. But we get a rare appearance from the one and only Matt Keogh, their dad, he makes a phone call. We don't actually get to see him. He just calls in to talk about this move and everything that's happening in the family. We legitimately haven't seen him on camera since he Irish goodbyed his own party at his house.
No. Yeah, it is
No.
crazy to me that even his eldest, like, seemingly most preferred son is going away to college, and he's not there to see him off.
No, it seems really weird. Or it would be one thing, and I feel like they would have said this if it were the case, but, like, even if he was traveling and he was just gonna meet him in Arizona whenever he got there.
Yeah, it does sound like because we mentioned this in the episode where they were going to Arizona to check out the college, that we thought it was strange that the grandparents were there, but it sounds like they actually live really close to this college, so maybe Matt is gonna drop in, once he moves in, but yeah, it is crazy. It's just like a phone call. And I love Kara too, like, "Oh, are you leaving today?"
Yeah, she woke up like she had no idea. Meanwhile, Gina's like, "Yes, you did have an idea. We've been talking about this for weeks." And she is getting ready. She's kind of having a chaotic morning for herself because she's getting ready to go to volleyball practice, I believe. And so she's just full of some big feelings. So much so that her 13-year-old brother needs to move her car out of their driveway because she can't even
Yeah, the 13-year-old brother with a cast on one of his arms.
is a better driver than his 16-year-old sister.
Yeah, the Kara meltdown that day is a tough scene for teenage Kara. What I didn't want at that
Yeah.
age is when I was having a meltdown to be recorded. It's not pretty when you're 15, 16 years old and having a meltdown, and we really get a piece of that in this scene as Shane's leaving. I also thought as
Mhm.
they kind of go back and forth between him packing and like Vicky and Brianna packing. I thought it was so weird. Elaborate story that Shane had from his dad on like why he's worried about him going to this college, about like Shane getting all the girls and the cowboys in the area getting jealous of him and like starting a fight. It was such an elaborate concern. I was like, how is that even a valid concern? That's such a weird story. That's not regular. That's not going to happen. What is that?
What if that happened to Matt? What if
Maybe
that
that's how he
exact
got.
thing happened to him?
I mean, maybe he knows from experience, you're right, but it just was such an elaborate story. Like, why are you even concerned about that? You just made that up.
Yeah, that was a very specific example he was giving him about what could go wrong in college, and also probably the lesser of what they should be concerned about with him living on his own for the first time and having to be self-sufficient.
Also, earlier in this season, Gina's like helping him pick out his classes. Like, he can't even pick out his classes by himself, and you're concerned about him getting in fights with cowboys over women?
Mhm, so true. He has to figure out how to do laundry for the first time by himself.
The odds are high.
Yeah, odds are high. But Gina and her daughter Cara get to do a really fun activity that I am jealous of. And they get to go diamond shopping. So Gina has a hookup with this jeweler, and they are taking a girls' trip down or up. They're taking a girls' trip to Beverly Hills Rodeo Drive to just go diamond shopping. And so they decide to make it a whole party, and they invite Lori and Vicky to go along. And this is described as a Tupperware party for millionaires.
Love that. I believe it's up from Orange County to Beverly Hills, but don't quote me on that. Anyone, if you want to check a map, go ahead. Yeah, I would say this is very funny, especially the comment that this is Tupperware for millionaires, considering nobody attending is a millionaire. Like Vicky, Lori, and Gina are not
Correct.
millionaires. So that was interesting. I thought again, I think it's really cool that they're bringing the women together. I think that's where the good content is. It's such an interesting thing to watch because you can see like Vicky and Lori are really struggling to, I guess you could say, allow themselves to splurge on this, like buying something at the store. And I think that really goes to show just their role in the family being different from Gina's at this point. So Vicky is obviously the breadwinner. Like Don just got a job in the last episode, I think. And Lori is the sole provided for her family. It sounded like her and her ex had not finished their divorce, or she didn't get much in the divorce or whatever, but she's struggling. She's trying on necklaces that she likes, and she's like, I can't justify buying this because I could be buying whatever for my kid instead.
Yeah, that's so true and real, and I feel like a lot of people kinda go through that where, I've been working really hard and I wanna reward myself, but, like, what else could I be using this money for? I think we could all resonate with that and always thinking like, "Well, what if? Well, I could be putting this somewhere else. I could be saving this," but she ultimately decides to treat herself a little bit. She doesn't go crazy. She spends a little bit over $1,000 on like an earring and necklace set, which are really pretty. And she does decide to treat herself because she knows that she's been working really hard. She also knows that she has more leads and business coming her way.
Yeah, that's kinda what Vicky I don't know if did you see if Vicky ended up buying that necklace that she kept holding up?
I don't think so. I don't think so because I believe at the end they mentioned that the entire total for the shopping trip was $44,000 and that was combined between all of the women there. And I think that necklace that Vicky was wearing was just like 40 grand on its own.
I think you're right. I wrote that down. Yeah. So Vicky probably didn't end up buying that. I wonder if she ended up buying something because Vicky was saying the same thing where the nature of their work, they could just take more leads. They kind of know, here's on average what I make, but like I could be plus or minus this much. Like Vicky could make it up. But I honestly, though, with the amount Vicky works, like, how much more can she do? She's already probably working like 12, 14-hour days.
Oh, hands down. And like you mentioned, Dawn just got a job, so she knows that there's a secondary income on its way. So I say, treat yourself, girl.
Treat yourself. And Gina bought earrings for Cara. I don't remember exactly how much those were, but Gina definitely seemed less concerned about the amount she was about to spend on these. It was, I think, an earrings and necklace set.
Yeah, I think something like that, and it was for a birthday gift, she mentioned, an early birthday gift, but we kinda gather that Matt's away most of the time because he's working, and Gina's a kick-ass real estate agent, so they have a dual income family that neither one of them are doing too bad. So I could see how she is a little bit more spendy maybe, and she's within her means to do so, and she is the one who had this connection to the jeweler, so I'm sure she frequents this jeweler and gives them a lot of business.
That's true. And it did seem like there were other women on this trip aside from Vicky, Gina, and Lori. And so I imagine that all those are counting in the 44,000. But to imagine a bus of women, a small bus of women spending $44,000 in like a couple hours is crazy.
Yeah, so much money to drop within a short span of time.
Yeah.
So, Lori, going back to Lori, she also takes on this role of spending a little bit of mommy and me time because that's another theme that we have going on this episode.
Mm.
Lori takes her daughter Sophie horseback riding. And apparently, we just unlocked this new hobby. Lori grew up as a horse girl. She tells us about her background and how she grew up riding. She grew up on a farm in Idaho, I believe, she mentions.
Yes.
And Sophie is just taking to this horseback riding. It's really exciting. And so we get to see Steve again as well.
Yes, we do get to see Steve, and I loved the picture of Lori with the horse as like a like older teen, so cute.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we see Steve in a new way. Do you wanna explain where we catch him for the first time in this episode?
We get to see Steve in such an amazing spot. So, Lori has involved herself in a new charity, and they are hosting a benefit at a bar club. It's a bar that has a stage for performers. And who better to perform at a charity in the middle of the day than this rock and roll guy, Steve? Apparently, he's got hidden music talent and he is up there playing guitar and is just rocking out. And unfortunately for Lori, the benefit being in the middle of the day really did hinder literally anyone arriving. There's a really sad sequence of her waiting outside of this club for hours and hours, ready to greet people to come in, and no one shows up.
Not a one person shows up, and then eventually, they show her back inside this club bar that you described, and there's, like, 6 people there.
Just the six. That's it. I'm pretty sure a couple of those people are Steve's parents.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, and maybe Lori's, like, close friend or whoever else is involved in running this event, but I also noted that During this scene, Steve has his very first confessional.
Yes, he does get pulled for a sidebar confessional. Do you wanna talk more about that?
I don't because I didn't write down what he said.
Neither did I. It must have not been noteworthy.
All I remember was that it put his highlights on blast, so
I just put an old man fist pumping, and then Steve is rocking out, and literally no one is there.
so clearly he didn't say much, we were just excited that he had a confessional.
No, he was maybe a Slade Junior in the making, potentially.
We'll never know though, will we?
Uh, but we might never know, or we might next episode. Who's to say? So after the crash and burn that is Lori's charitable event, she is thriving. We just see her kind of living her life. Her and Ashley have seemed to are seeming to get along a lot better. Ashley's kind of getting her shit together, so to speak. And just kind of getting her life back on track. She's working, she's going to school, she's actually like paying her bills, which is new for her after the repo. And then we also get an update on Josh. So, Josh, unfortunately, had gotten into some trouble after his return home from juvie. And so, Lori thought it would be best for him to move to Idaho to live with his grandparents on the farm for a little bit. But she does share that he actually rejoiced in it and actually loved it. It seems like he found it very valuable and enjoyed spending that time with his grandparents.
So Ashley is thriving. She's kind of forced to thrive because Lori has a scene where she comes home and Ashley is not there because she's moved out because she doesn't like Steve.
Did I black out? Why did I not
I think
remember
so.
that?
And it kind of trickles out. This doesn't get revealed right away. And we will get more details at the very end of the episode, but it's just kind of briefly mentioned that Ashley doesn't like Steve, so she moves out. And Lori's in a confessional and she admits that Steve had abused drugs when she first met him. And she only let him back into their lives because he was supposedly clean now.
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot to take on. And especially that she had been carrying that the whole season when she was really talking a lot about Josh and, his struggles. And for a while, we thought they were drug related, the issue that led to him going to juvie.
Right. But Ashley does take it in stride. She moves out, she betters herself, she's doing really well. And so I think it really is the best thing for both of them. And with Josh leaving, Lori's just has Sophie.
Yeah. She goes from the big full house to just the one kid, and I'm sure that feels a lot more manageable, not only because of the lack of other children, but also because she's having a steady income and, like, is figuring out how to support herself and her family fully.
Yes. I think it's good for both of them, especially her and Ashley to get some space, as you said, get some independence there. And hopefully this helps Lori, get back on her feet a little bit. She's not where she won't be as concerned about Ashley. She hopefully won't be as concerned about Josh. And she can just kind of steady the ship and maybe pick a man that isn't a recovering drug addict.
Mhm. Yeah. That would be great and grand.
Yeah.
We would love that for her.
Do you want to talk about another potential breakup here?
So, we left off with Joe and Slade last time ending their engagement. They decided to call it quits. The big blowout fight happened and, it just ended there. Joe just we saw the scene of the ring on the bathroom counter and that was that. So we
Yes.
thought we start off with Housewife Slade, our fave, hitting the gym because I think he's working on his revenge body, obviously. He also confides in one of his friends about the breakup and is just complaining about this that it's the same old song and dance with Joe.
Yeah, it is. And this scene at the gym, I mean, Slade working out in cargo shorts, like what is this outfit that he's using to get his personal training session? His outfits are just never quite matching what the scenario is. That I had to mention the outfit.
The cargo shorts are worrisome and they would bother me too. It's upsetting to see them.
It is.
Slade's friend, when he's confiding in him, talks about Joe and says the whole notion that she's not ready to be a mom is actually a huge problem and they should be broken up because of it. Like, that is actually a deal breaker, which, thank you, friend, because that is true. That's kind of a big non negotiable, I think, especially when he already has children here.
Yes, and wasn't it Slade that said, "Oh yeah, it's one small thing," and his friend was like, "That's not really a small thing, though."
No. Yeah, he totally. sees it for what it is. That is a big deal. That's a big pause for concern that she doesn't wanna be a mom to your 2 kids. She's not ready. She's being honest about it. So to try and get some closure on this breakup, and because Joe no longer wants to live at Slade's house, she arranges a time to go and pick up her stuff. And so Slade has just boxes of her shit in the garage. Not really put away nicely, but she didn't really request that it get put away nicely.
I mean, I don't understand why her expectation is that he would pack for her. Like, what?
Yeah, he literally just I mean, she's kinda lucky that he even put it in a box, like, threw her shit in a box and not just left it in
Yes.
a pile strewn about.
Especially after her text that said, I guess we are, the letter R, done, period. Please pack up everything, period. I will pick up ASAP.
Yes, a text message breakup for this man who you've been with for about 2 years now and who is your fiancé, was your fiancé, and you just text message break up with him.
And then you're expecting him to pack your shit?
Yeah, but that just is so telling to her maturity level that we've all been battling with.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So in this whole thing of Joe picking up her stuff, she's packing up the car. Slade arrives home and he really wants to have one of his, I called it a daddy daughter talk because that's how he talks towards her, as if she were a kid that he was scolding. And he's just trying to reason with her. And I think it's pretty clear that Slade's intention is to get back together, but Joe is just not interested in entertaining that notion whatsoever. And so she, having been a kept woman by Slade, is driving his car, which has his personalized license plate, but it's really in regards to her because the license plate of the car is J Smiley,
Yes.
which is just barf, just barf. Ugh. So as she's like packing up the car and is setting her intentions that she's taken off, she's leaving, Slade's like, whoa, whoa, whoa there. This license plate is not going with you. So he proceeds to start taking the license plate off the car, which I'm not really sure what his intentions were. I mean, if he is the owner of the car, I feel just asking for the keys back and forcing her to give the whole car back rather than just the license plate might have been a
Yeah.
better place to start. But she is obviously not happy that he's doing this, and it makes her in even more of a rush to just get the heck out of there. So as soon as the license plate is off, she's driving off. No plate, doesn't care. She's taken off in this car. Which then we get a lovely scene of Slade hopping in his Hummer and taking out his rose bushes in the process
Yeah.
of chasing after her now in his car. Coming from a guy who was literally a few episodes ago calling Joe to complain about the landscaping bill because of these damn rabbits, you're just gonna take out your rose bushes like that?
My gosh, and I don't even think she put any boxes in her car before she drove off.
No, I don't know. I don't know that she got much of her shit at all.
Well, and when we get to the scene where she's packing in the garage, she admits in her confessional or her voiceover that she is not happy. She finally says, like, I am not happy in this relationship. Slade gets home, she's arguing with Slade, as you mentioned, and I wrote next, I was like, "What car is she driving? Like, how did she get here?" I knew she had Slade's car, but I was like, "Is she still driving the car?" And then it
Mhm.
flat this whole scene, this whole back and forth with the license plate, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's Slade's car." She's literally just driving around Slade's car and then is complaining about so she's breaking up with him via text, is mad at him, she's mad at his pack job, and then she's driving his car.
Yeah. She's trying to have her cake and eat it too. I feel like that's the definition of this.
100%.
She wants nothing to do with him, but she wants to, like, still reap the rewards of being a kept woman, her
Yes.
favorite thing.
So after Slade drives off aggressively, we don't know what happens after that, right? So he drives off after her. We don't know what happens. And then we just cut to a scene and he's back at his house calling Joe over and over.
Yeah, he is trying to track this woman down and is just begging at this point for her to come
Yes.
back. And he gets his wish. Joe walks back through the door crying and they seemingly reconcile. They kind of take each other up in an embrace and then they are seen like saying sorry to each other and Joe is apologizing and Slade, he does have a sense of relief that, she is back in the house and she wants to stay and she's maybe realized the error of her ways, but I don't think there was an error. She just is not in the life stage that he wants her to be in, which is the whole point of them arguing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it goes back to a couple things. Slade expecting her to change, Joe kind of saying she wanted to change for Slade. Like, it's just when you're 24 and you don't want to be a mom yet, there is no change. You just don't want that yet. And that's okay.
Yeah, she can't, and it's also not doing herself or the kids a service to force herself into that either. If your heart's not in it, don't do it, especially when it comes to being a mom figure to 2 young kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Jo is also, maintaining her friendships elsewhere, and maybe that's what's giving her a little bit more of a backbone when it comes to Slade. 'Cause I think she was really not being vocal about her needs and wants previously, but maybe she's gaining this confidence because she has this group around her now that's, like, boosting her up. We get to see a take 2, part 2, if you will, of Joe and Kimberly hitting the tennis courts, which is really exciting. Do they actually play tennis? Not a chance. Not even a little. They quite literally look at the tennis court and say, "Hmm, maybe next time." And then they go and
Not
sit and
today,
chat.
they say.
"Not today." They said, "Nah." So Joe is able to share with Kimberly at this point that her and Slade have broken up. She also does fail to mention that she broke up via text, which really bothered me. The text message breakup, I'm really upset about.
Yeah, that was tough.
And Kimberly, I think Kimberly is, in my opinion, the most emotionally intelligent housewife. So I think she is the best suited to be giving Joe advice on like what she should be doing.
Yeah, totally. And I think so this scene was fun to me. I think so I love that they go to the tennis courts. And I did notice something in the back. So they go, they're watching the women, they're like, "Do we want to play?" Nah. And then they cut to them at a table and Joe is wearing a completely different outfit.
She is. Yeah, I did notice that. Yeah, she completely, and I don't think it's like a quick change thing. I think these are just happening on different days. So the amount of times that these women are going to the tennis court and not playing tennis is hilarious.
Yeah, they probably only played that one time that they went the first time.
Yeah, when they had the lesson. That was about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is where Joe does admit that she wanted to change for Slade, and then I think it cuts to Slade, or she's quoting Slade that he said that Joe should change when they got married, or he thinks that she should have changed when they got married. It's like, you guys are just putting so much pressure on yourself for becoming these brand new individuals once you're married.
Yeah, it's really unrealistic. I mean, I'm not yet a married person, but I don't believe that there's gonna be this magic switch where I'm just, like, changing my ideals on most subjects.
Yeah, or just like changing your personality or your likes and your dislikes or how you like to spend your time. I mean, he's asking for a complete overhaul here.
Yeah, he really is. He just wants to kinda mold her into the person that he wants her to be, and that's just not how it works, sir.
Yeah. Well, and I feel bad for Joe that she's even putting the pressure on herself because of whatever messaging he's putting out there, that she's even saying, like, I wanted to change. I just can't. And it's like, girl, you don't gotta change. It's fine.
Yeah, you should not have to. And this is almost like the old saying, have you heard of the, like, fitting a square peg into a round hole?
Sure
They
have.
just keep trying, man. They keep trying.
I
So
wish
this
they
kinda
wouldn't.
puts a damper. I know, I wish they wouldn't either. This puts a damper on Joe and Kimberly's plans because apparently they have birthdays that are close together, and they were planning on doing a joint birthday party. But now Joe's sharing this breakup news with Kimberly at this point, and again, just to clarify, this scene is happening before we see the reconciliation, the the dramatic drive off, and then Joe coming back to the house. So we get Kimberly talking about how, well, it's probably not a good idea to have this be Joe and I's birthday, but I'm still gonna have a birthday party for myself. So she hosts a really cute little garden party get together, and we get all the ladies together, the whole cast, which is really
Yes.
exciting. And at this point, the cast is unaware that Joe and Slade have reconciled. So we get a little bit of a surprise bomb when they walk into the party together, and the party goers are all shooketh. And so Slade is like just kind of letting everyone say what they want to say. He mentions that him and Joe have realized that they are just perfect for one another. And so really nothing can
Of
keep
course.
them apart at this point.
Of course. And I think both the breakup and the reconciliation are surprises to all the other women except Kimberly. Like, Kimberly is kind of spilling the tea with everyone before Slade and Joe get there. Like, Joe, I don't know if Joe's coming by herself. She asked to bring a date because her and Slade broke up. Like, I don't know if Slade's coming. So they're all chatting about it before she even gets there.
That's true, and this is the first kinda catty moment, I would say, that we see between the girls, is Kimberly talking about this and kinda speculating. It's not, like, nasty, as we might see in the future, but it is kind of the first glimpse of them gossiping, and I'm here for it.
Oh, yes. And I love the unsolicited advice from everyone to Slade and Joe, where they're all kind of like, oh, you guys should go to couples therapy. And since we all know you broke up and got back together, like, let's all talk about it and let's chime in.
Mhm. I agree. And this is kind of interesting too because Lori is eating this shit up. She loves the gossip about this couple. I don't know if it's because it kind of takes away from some of the dramatic stuff happening in her life, because this is where she reveals at this party that Steve was actually caught buying drugs during a family trip when they were in Mexico. And immediately ended things. And it was actually
Oh,
Josh who witnessed Steve buying drugs, which is just wrong on so many levels that Steve would do this in front of Josh, not only because he's a minor and the son of the woman you're trying to date, but also with his history. And did Steve not think that Josh was going to tell Lori? Like, not sure.
yeah.
Just not a good look all around. So Steve is done. Steve is out,
I,
cutting him off.
I think we can say that Vicky started the phrase the ick, because she said to Lori, push the ick away about Steve.
Push the ick away.
So I think Vicky invented the ick. So everyone in Gen Z that uses the ick needs to thank Vicky Gunvalson.
Yeah. I just think of the song "Vicky Icky" from the Fairly OddParents.
So good.
Maybe she stole it from them.
She might have. Maybe it goes all the way back to
She got
Timmy
lucky her
Turner.
kids didn't grow up. Yeah. Or what if her kids did sing that song to her?
I don't know if that was their time.
I don't know either, actually. So we kind of round out this party for Kimberly with just the centerpiece really being everyone talking about Joe and Slade and then kind of giving some little updates on their lives. And for the most part, everyone just goes on business as usual after filming has concluded. We get at the last episode of every season, we will get an update on where the cast members have gone to do, dates on things that maybe have happened throughout the season, just a little kind of tidbit of information on them. So, yeah, I would say everyone's was like pretty much business as usual, nothing too crazy to report, except for the one freaking crazy thing that happened. So, 2 weeks after filming has ended, Joe and Slade break things off for good. We don't know. Um, they are broken up though at this point, and then Slade gets a little cozy with someone we are all very familiar with, and they go by the name of Lori. Slade and Lori have a brief romance. They go on a few dates. We get to see some really shitty quality telephone pictures of them on a date kissing, and apparently that also didn't last very long. The Slade and Lori romance. And that after that fizzled, Slade and Joe are then again back together, reconciled.
I mean, these two are just a hot mess. And Lori has been planting the seed all season at Gina's house. Slade walks by and she said, does he have a brother? And then in the final party episode, Lori says she finds out that Joe and Slade are broken up and she says, how old is Slade? Lori is counting the seconds until Slade and Joe break up again, and she is going to be right there to swoop in and steal this man's.
She was absolutely ready to swoop, and I think Slade was absolutely ready to be taken. He had his arms up ready for her to swoop and take him out of that cradle.
In the days before sliding into DMs, like, how does one swoop in on a man?
I think by email.
AO.
You slide into someone's inbox.
Oh my gosh, the IMs. Of
Oh, I was in so many chat rooms I wasn't supposed to be in when I was younger.
course you were.
Do you remember what ASL is?
American Sign
In
Language?
regards to chat room bant no, in regards to chat room jargon, ASL is age, sex, location. It's how you quickly got to know someone.
Okay, you just were out there sharing your location with strangers on the internet? I hope you didn't give them your
Absolutely,
address.
I was like I didn't give him my address, but I told him what city I was in or what state, and I was also 11. I shouldn't have been in there in the first place.
Too much free time.
I was just on the family computer in the living room just chatting it up with strangers online.
Of course.
Yeah, and now I'm just chatting it up on the internet with you.
At least I know you.
Yeah, so you think, until I text message breakup with you.
We are done.
That's how you'll know.
Man.
Well, speaking of being done, that's the season. That is the finale. There was a lot. There was a big, heavy hit towards the end of the episode for sure, but it's just giving us more and more. So I'm really excited to see what's to come. We do have a reunion episode coming up, which gives us a little bit more insight and some more updates on what the ladies have been up to after the initial filming.
Yes, and it even brings Joe and Lori face to face after the Slade Ring Around the Rosie that they're doing.
Yes, the pass the slate around.
Yes.
I loved the final thought at the very end of the episode, actually. The final thought that we get to hear from Gina, our spokeswoman and our muse for the show,
Yes.
is that there is a huge mystique when you lived behind the gates. But once they open up, we are no different than anyone else. I kind of love.
Love that we end with Gina. Just the inspiration for this whole thing, really. And what a great quote.
Such a good quote. And I think it reigns true quite a bit because we see the different family dynamics. We see the like drama that happens between siblings. Like all there's a lot of relatable things that do happen. It's just happening in much more expensive houses and includes shopping sprees to places like jewelry stores instead of the grocery store. I feel like when I go to Costco, I'm like balling out, you know? That's my version of a shopping spree now.
Well, you are.
Yeah. So Jenny, my confessional question for you for our
Yes.
finale to really wrap us all in and finish out this episode. If you had to apologize to anyone on behalf of another cast member, who would it be and why?
Ooh, this is such a good question.
You can think about I can share mine if you would like to
Yeah,
start
you
us
go
off.
first because you've thought about
Perhaps
this.
this will give you inspiration. I have thought about this. I have the advantage here. But I would like to apologize on behalf of Slade to all of womankind for all of the outfits, for all of the costumes and the masks, for all of the misogynistic things that have come out of his mouth, and especially for having to watch him do exercises in his underwear with a frozen eye mask on his face. That one specifically, I'd like to apologize on behalf of all womankind for Slade.
Amen.
Amen.
I would like to apologize to all Fix-A-Hos on behalf of Lori for her setting a bad precedent for women that are trying to find a man or a partner that's a good partner and is a good addition to your family, especially when you have kids. Lori is not setting a good example for you finding this man's by picking a man who has a drug problem to be in her life with a son who has an alcohol problem. I cannot apologize enough to all of my Fix-A-Ho girlies on this example that she has set for you.
She did you dirty, guys. She did
Sh-
you dirty.
She really did. Do not be like this woman.
This is your sign to not do that.
Don't be Lori. Be more like Kimberly.
I agree. No, that's a
I had
really
to
good
actually think about
apology.
that one of who I was going to suggest because a lot of these women might tend toward the fix-a-hoe tendencies.
They might, yeah. Some of them married their fix-a-hoes, so
That's right.
we don't have to name names. But, we all know. But yeah, that's our season, guys. Excited to get into the reunion and catch back up with these ladies, see
Can't
where they're
wait.
at nowadays. And with that,